Hello everyone and welcome to the 195th episode of the Poorly Planned Podcast. My name is Benedict. You may not know me better as B.H.L. Hudson.
Ooh,
you may just know me as Benedict now.
A deep cut.
Profound conclusion to the saga.
God, we haven't even talked about that off pod yet.
It's been a wild few days since we've talked, so yeah, we gotta catch up in some ways. But here we talk about movies, TV shows, a bunch of nonsense. With me as always is my friend, co-host, and as his very delightfully colorful shirt says, IT Wizard.
What can I say?
Frederick. You're looking...
God, the least cool introduction possible.
You're looking very schwagged out this morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're out here just...
I did just come from an 8-hour shift being, as you very well put it, a Wi-Fi wizard.
Let's go. And you're also, I do believe, chronically ill.
So chronically insane. Yeah, I mean,
vomiting on and off, so don't know how well that goes.
It's been a wild few days, I won't lie. We had a frisbee tournament that lasted for a long part of the Saturday. After that, I got very ill. Didn't go outside for 2 days because I had like a very high fever. Then today I was like, oh, shit, I got an 8-hour shift. I must go. I go in, I deal with some, let's just say, very strange individuals who needed some Wi-Fi help. And now I come back, and now it's time for the best damn part of the week.
Let's go. This will cure any stomach flu and or, I don't know, gonorrhea that you may have. I don't know if gonorrhea makes you do any of those things, but...
just so you know, I've never had gonorrhea, just disclaimer.
Yeah, I don't know that significant vomiting is a main symptom. But
I've definitely never experienced that.
But yeah, well, hey, we made it. We made it to the podcast.
We're back. And you're back in the land of the studious?
I am as Ireland is often referred to on a global scale. I am back in the Irish land. It's been a lovely couple days. Very kind of, I don't know, a lot going on the past couple of days. Like, I guess I got used to over the summer for like 3 months, just like, having family who will like cook dinner for you and do shopping for you and stuff, and then suddenly I have to do everything again. And
exactly, it's a dramatic kind of shift.
Bit of an old shifteroo. Today I thought we'd do a classic mini reviews episode.
Ooh,
we're gonna be there are time codes down below.
You do things to me, sir.
We're gonna be talking to each other about Talk to Me.
Thank
nice.
you.
Thank you.
Very good.
We're going to be discussing other things. We might have a Forrest Gump debate I have here in my notes.
Yeah. I saw that you had a bit of an L take, but we'll move past it.
God, what a weird thing to debate. Sorry, your Forrest Gump Letterboxd review? Kind of an L take.
Your Letterboxd review of the Forrest Gump? Not on it right now.
Bit of a Jenny moment from you, if I'm honest. And I also saw Blue Beetle, so we'll talk about that and other things and more. So,
many things to discuss.
We could jump into it. I will say just off the top, as some of you might know, B.H.L. Hudson recently retired YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I would like to say, first of all, just thank you for all the lovely comments. There were borderline too many to get through, but I did my best. And
thank you for all the lovely comments. I read none of them.
Yeah, I skimmed. But people, also sent nice messages, and there were nice comments on the post and the video. So to whoever left a nice comment, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. It was very wholesome. I realize I'm a little low energy right now myself, so it's not really coming across, but I did have a very delightful time. One of my friends said that some of the comments brought them to tears. So, you have a way with words. Genuinely, there were some really, really nice ones, especially the ones that were like, you helped me get into my passion for film, and now I'm doing this in film and whatnot. And so another nice one was like, your stuff is like, always been like a nice comfort YouTube channel, which I never really thought of, but that's quite a big compliment. So anyway, just want to say thank you to everyone. It's been an incredibly lovely response.
I will say on the air, on the record here, it's a terrible YouTube channel. No, I will say, I totally understand why you have stopped with everything being busy and different focuses and stuff, but I will say it was a bloody good YouTube channel.
My guy.
He did things like my friend who you met, Ronan. He just told me the other day, which I guess, kind of took me off guard, but also kind of cool. He was like, yeah, I just spent the entire afternoon watching his MCU chronology video.
No way.
And I was like, okay, thoughts? He was like, it was actually really, really good.
Absolute king. Well,
so, it was, if that doesn't show it was great content, I don't know what will.
That counts for a lot. Ronan was already just a super cool guy when I met him, but now he's some could say a G.
He's leveled up to G status.
But it was a great end to the thing. So again, just like thank you everyone. Really means a lot. Thank you everyone. Also, in regards, people were asking in regards to the podcast, what will be happening. I mean, there are, we are currently doing it right now. There may or may not be certain conversations that some of us may have off air in regards to certain things, which again we haven't even spoken in the past few days. So
this is a bit of a shell shock to me.
So let's not have that conversation like right here for the first time. But we shall see. We shall see. But anyway, enough worries about that. Who cares about the imminent doom of this show and or anything like that? Let's talk movies, shall we?
God, what an ominous overall tone.
Such a terrible way to start a podcast. Will we be around much longer? Who knows?
Will this undeniably lovable show continue? Probably not.
Let's get into the mini reviews. Shall we start off? Do we start off fiery with the Gump to kind of get us in the mood?
Ooh. Okay. Well, why not?
All right, well, we'll start with the Gump. I watched Forrest Gump.
With the Gump. Was this the first time you watched it? Surely not.
It was the first time I'd watched it in full. It was the Lion King situation where, like, I know all the stuff. I've seen bits of it throughout my life, but, like, I've never actually sat down and just watched it start to finish. And it was on my egregious movies list, which is, like, the movies that are really weird that I haven't seen yet. And it was good. I think you're going to spin a narrative here that I didn't really enjoy it, and I did quite enjoy it. I gave it a little 3.5. I thought it was a great Hanks.
You hated it, didn't you?
I thought it was, funny at times. It was very much like a movie. You know what I mean? It's like the quintessential movie, and it was well done generally. I just thought it was a little long, and
I can agree with the long bit.
Perhaps,
especially towards the end. It does get a little drawn out. That is, I dare say, the only negative.
Just a tad. And it does, I think it doesn't go down too sweet, but it kind of, it's a cheesy movie, which is fine. It's Forrest Gump. Couple moments, it's like it kind of lays it on a little heavy, even for me, who's a cheese man. And also there were just one or two moments that were like really, I feel, borderline unforgivably bad, such as the like CGI of the old, like the real footage of like Kennedy and fucking John Lennon or whatever, which apparently, I guess that was like revolutionary CGI at the time or something. But it's like some of the worst looking stuff I've ever seen in any movie. But
you're forgetting this movie's like 30 years old.
I guess, but even so, I mean, because it's such a point of it, like they do it so many times. And again, I feel like I've heard people say like, "Wow, I couldn't believe they got John Lennon to." And it's like, my God, this looks like...
Can't believe they brought John Lennon back from the dead just to do this movie.
Yeah, and also the whole bit when John Lennon's like, they're doing, I get the whole thing, Forrest Gump inspired everything in America, but then it's like, he comes up with the Beatles songs and all this. I don't know. In general, though, I enjoyed it. I thought it was cute. And also, the CGI on Lieutenant Dan's legs was actually very impressive. So, fair play. So, defend your Gump.
Well, defend your Gump sounds like... I don't know what it sounds like, but definitely something sexual. I mean, I'm not gonna defend my Gump in a way because you have not berated it as much as I thought you would. I thought you were gonna come in with more of a mid take.
Okay.
And I think it's a great movie, a classic, beautiful performances. I agree it can be a little long at times. I mean, yeah, it's just a classic. I think 3.5 is too low. I would go up to 4.
Damn. You raised me a 4. Is this possible bias?
I raised you a 4.
because you did dress up as Forrest Gump one time.
I actually completely forgot I dressed up as Forrest Gump that one time.
You did. I also didn't get it because I hadn't seen the movie, and I thought Forrest Gump, I know him from like the box of chocolate scene, and so I was like, why do you have this like long hair and beard and stuff? Like, what the fuck?
That's not Forrest Gump. Where's your chocolate, bro?
But fair enough. Yeah, Gump, pretty solid of a time, I'd say.
All right. Well, I'll move swiftly on and hit you with a cheeky Snatch.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
All right. I didn't see this one coming.
Yeah, bit of a left field, this one. So, yeah, watch Snatch. So I watched like maybe 5/6 of it in one sitting, and then it took like 3 weeks, and I got back and saw the ending a few days ago. Yeah, not the best way to watch a movie, I understand. But honestly, a very, very enjoyable time. It's got some great humor, some very funny characters and moments. Brad Pitt is delightful. I dare say, and this might be controversial. I don't know what everyone's takes are on the lead two guys here, Statham and that one guy from Pirates of the Caribbean. Kind of annoying at times, a little bit grating. I don't know. I was like, they're just like overly mean to each other, and like they had like some good banter, but at the same time, I was like, this is just a little bit annoying. I would say those two, like whenever those two were on screen, and it was just the two of them, that was definitely the part of the movie, or those parts of the movie that I was bored or like I liked the least. Everything else was so good. Brad Pitt was great. There's also Nick Miller's dad is in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, delightful. He's actually one of my favorites in that movie as well. There's so many like different storylines going on at the same time that then like kind of culminate at the end, but in a way that is very, very enjoyable. So I definitely would recommend. I think you would definitely enjoy it as well.
I've seen Snatch. I'm the one who recommended Snatch to you.
Oh, the realization dawns. So what do you think of Statham and?
Well, that's the thing. I did watch it a long time ago, so I don't really remember too many specifics, but I don't remember it being, I thought they were just kind of like another, fun part of the movie. And it surprises me, I guess you must have really not liked them because you love a Statham, you love a Pirates cast member. If they
I think he's definitely one of the most mid-pirate cast members in the world.
Fair enough. I actually don't remember who it is.
He's the guy in the fourth, Scrum, I believe.
Oh, that guy. Oh, isn't he also, he's like the guy who's in, like a lot of, he's like one of the That Guy actors.
Yeah, he is that guy. You could say him.
Stephen Graham, yeah. But yeah, I mean, because I recommended to you post The Gentleman, because it's sort of the original Guy Ritchie. And I think maybe he refined his craft a little bit towards The Gentleman.
I dare say he did. The Gentleman, I like Snatch, but The Gentleman is miles better.
Yeah, I'd prefer The Gentleman. But yeah, it is definitely a fun movie, especially if you like that kind of, comedic, kind of sharp Guy Ritchie, fast edited crime stuff.
Yeah, a very good time.
I might do, you know what? I'll hit a little 3-in-1 kind of quick fire here. I watched Frozen 2, which you've talked about before.
Okay, nice.
Which you are not a huge fan of.
I think it's the definition of a mid-Disney sequel.
I dare say I completely agree. If not, maybe I liked it even less.
Let's go. Finally, because everyone, again, I don't know if I've said it on the pod, but everyone in this fucking country keeps berating me about how Frozen 2 is such a great movie and way better than the original. And I'm like, bro, you have no idea how many like team socials I've been at where I've like drunkenly had this debate so many times.
About Frozen 2. Such a weird debate because it's also such a nothing movie. But I'll give it, like, the animation is amazing. Dare I say, probably even better than the first film. But that's the thing. You kind of, I was like, anything I liked in it. Like, there were a couple jokes that made me laugh, and it was really beautifully animated. I'm like, that's kind of the bare minimum of a Disney movie. Otherwise, I thought the story was too muddled and had too much going on and too many, like, little elements. I thought it was, I don't know, quite extremely predictable, kind of uninspired. Like, it had too much going on, and it was still quite predictable.
Songs were not nearly as good.
Songs were quite forgettable. I feel like Olaf goes from, and maybe, I saw the first Frozen when I was a kid, so obviously it'd be funnier, but Olaf was
He
kind of
goes from being the most hilarious fucking thing in the world.
But he's a very much like a one joke thing that they keep doing over. It's like Olaf is silly and childish, and then he says something really deep and existential, and it's like, right, okay,
I know, it's just like
you did it 50 times.
I feel like they really overplayed him in this movie.
Yeah, and also then the whole, I agree with you because you mentioned the Anna Kristoff thing. It's just like, even for this reality and this kids movie thing, it feels forced and not realistic. It's like they don't talk even how animated Disney characters would talk to each other, you know what I mean? For the sake of comedic hijinks. So, I don't know, yeah. I mean, it wasn't like the worst movie I've ever seen. I didn't like hate it vehemently. It was just like not a lot to hate vehemently. I was just like, this is, kind of quite mid.
Certainly very mid. But yeah, again, I watched it, I was like, this is mid, whatever. But the fact that so many people would like die on the hill that it's a great movie.
That's so surprising.
Is what makes me dislike this movie so much.
I get that, yeah, because I've not encountered that, and I would be pissed.
And I would be furious.
Real quick, I don't have a ton to say about it, or actually, maybe I do a little bit. So actually, you can go, because I might actually want to get into this one.
Well, I think you'll be delighted to know and hear that I did in fact watch In Bruges.
I did see this on the Letterboxd, and I was delighted.
Let's go.
For those who don't know, I've been recommending for a while now, and I'm so happy you
good.
Got to it.
Oh, you're not going up there. You're a pair of fucking elephants.
A bottle.
Honestly, I think I think my Colin Farrell is actually pretty good.
No, that was really good, actually. That was really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, let me, I'm trying to think now. What's a fucking lollipop man doing fucking karate?
I don't know. I feel like that wasn't great. More of a, Rafe moment.
Well, come on. Rafe, a delightful villain performance.
Rafe was very good.
Oh yeah, so spoilers, I guess, for In Bruges. What'd you think of I saw a cheeky 4.5 there.
4.5. Honestly, pretty great. The humor, I was laughing out loud many times. It's and there's also like, it's well acted in a way, like, where he's like breaks down about the kid. It is like surrounded by like a layer of comedy, but at the same time, there's like some genuine kind of feeling and acting involved in it. That's very, very good. I love the kind of dynamic, the back and forth, the bromance between Farrell and is it Gleason?
It is Gleason, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the action, when there was action, was also very good. I very much enjoyed the lady who like tried to rob him and then turns out to actually fall in love with him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And her boyfriend and stuff like that. I don't know. Everything just kind of came together very nicely. And Bruges just looks like a delightful place despite all of Farrell's whining.
I'm gonna die in fucking Bruges.
In fucking Bruges.
Yeah, my dad actually went to Bruges like last year, and he said it was wonderful. So
I really want to go. I might be going for a frisbee tournament there next year.
You're literally gonna be in Bruges?
I'm literally gonna be in Bruges.
Let's fucking go. You can see why I described it to you at the time as a really just like a straight up good movie, but then also one that you and I would very much enjoy.
Yeah, because it is a great movie, and that is basically the perfect way of describing it, because it's got some good action, some good acting, emotional moments, everything that a good movie has. But at the same time, it does adhere to to the ridiculousness of the humor
our
that we
nuttiness.
Enjoy.
Yes, just Farrell.
It does adhere to our nuttiness.
I do still think the hardest I've laughed in a movie is because earlier Farrell was talking about like, if someone comes at you with a bottle, that's a deadly weapon, and then some woman like comes at him with a bottle and goes, a bottle, and he just fucking hits her in the face.
I laugh so hard, he just fucking decks her.
And also, when he karate chops the dwarf, that was one of the funniest moments.
Karate chop!
I actually really want to rewatch it now. But yes, a classic movie. Yeah, I'm really glad you watched it. Speaking of, not really a classic movie at all, really, but a fine movie. But I have some thoughts. I don't know. I watched The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Ooh, that is a bit of a classic movie. It's a great movie.
Have you seen Walter Mitty?
I have.
You know my boy Walter? Searching for Sean Penn?
I know. I do know.
Okay, well, I think... I don't know, I was kind of
searching for Sean Penn.
I've been really wanting to watch it for a while, because even though I've heard, kind of mixed things, it seems very much like a movie for me, because I love the Stiller. Stiller might be in, like, my top 3 favorite actors ever. Just like I don't know, I can't explain. I just love his presence. He's such, like, a cool, laid-back, fun guy to watch. And I'm a sucker for movies about, people who are bored with life or don't have much going on or aren't inspired, and they find the beauty of life and like it's actually a magical thing to live and whatever. That's like my favorite kind of movie, you know what I mean? And I think like those are the only two reasons not the only two, but those are the two main reasons that I would say it's a good movie and not a bad movie, because I gave it 3 stars. And I think it's because Stiller carries heavy.
Stiller is just such... I know we're a podcast that talks about movies all the time, so I should probably use a more professional term, but I'm just going to say he's a goated actor.
He really is. He's so enjoyable to watch. I think he might be the most likable actor I've ever seen in a movie. He's just like impossible not to like. And I'm a sucker for that, like life is beautiful kind of premise. And the movie does have like nice moments. I like the whole skateboarding through Iceland kind of thing. That was cool, and it's like a fun premise and all that. It's just, I don't know, the rest of the movie, it didn't do a lot for me. I think it didn't really commit enough to various things. Like, I thought it was going to be more comedic, where at the start he has these, daydreams, and it's like, he has one that's really fucking absurd, where he's like fantasizing about being in a Benjamin Button situation with Kristen Wiig or whatever. And like, that's like that's like a Tropic Thunder style joke, where like, it's so like kind of weird and out there. And I thought there'd be more of that. And it doesn't really go there again. And then, I don't know, and then it gets like kind of, because he has all these ridiculous fantasies, and then he like learns, he actually does stuff in life that's amazing, but then like the stuff he does in real life gets like almost as ridiculous as the fantasies, but not in like a fun way. Like when he jumps in the water and the sharks are there, and it's sort of, I don't know, it felt like it was kind of just hard to get into for me. I wasn't, I don't know. It was sort of a situation where I wanted to like it more, and it kept kind of being like, I don't know.
I can be like, don't like me too much now.
Yeah, but overall, if you're looking for sort of a fun time, like it's a fun movie to watch if you caught it on something, if you like just needed something to watch. I think it's solid. It's okay.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a long time since I watched it, but memory serves, it's not my favorite movie, but I just love a good Stiller.
Very fair.
All right. I shall move on and hit you with one I don't think you've seen, but I definitely recommend you see.
Ooh.
I finished in like a few days the first 2 seasons, and the only season so far, of The Bear.
Ooh, I've seen the pilot, but
pilot is stressful as fuck.
Did we talk about it on here? Because that is literally the only thing I remember. That's why I didn't watch more, because I was like, that was intense. I don't want to go back to that kitchen, man.
That is, I could not breathe because that was just
too much
going all the time.
Okay, I'm glad to hear you felt the same way.
No, yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I think that is obviously the point of it. But like, I was like, yeah, this is, I don't know how nice this is to watch. I will say it does scale down a little bit, but there's also moments where it vamps it up a little bit, right? So, but overall, it's such a good show. Some of the food they make, delicious, and also just the storyline, so good. And it's honestly some of the best acting I've ever seen in TV shows. It's so good. There's this one, not to spoil too much, but there is one episode in fact, it's one of the shorter episodes. I think it's like 20 minutes. It's entirely one shot, right? Daredevil style, but it's like so much stuff is going on, and like everything that happens in the kitchen, like that must have taken so many different takes to try and get that right. And like, I don't know, but I don't think it's the case where it's filmed to look like it's one shot. I do think it's just fully filmed in one shot, right? And it's just insane to watch. And there's also another like scene where he's like at a meeting talking about, everything that's going on in his life, where he sits and like delivers such a powerful performance for like 7 minutes straight, where he's just talking and like crying and everything like that, all in one take as well. So like, it really is like a very, very, very good performance. But there's a few people I really enjoy, like in the kitchen. There's some I don't like as much, but something that in the second season that I very much enjoyed is that there is in fact an extended sequence of the show that takes place in Copenhagen.
No, they wouldn't.
Yes,
they brought the bear to DK.
It brought the bear to DK, and you know who's in DK? Captain Eyebrows, aka Will Poulter's in DK.
They would never let
and
him
it's
in.
the most delightful combination. and it's not, it's not one of those shows like, I can't think of an example, but where they like, say we're going to Denmark, and then they say like fly flabber, and that's all just gibberish Danish, right? They really like get into like the Danishness of the whole place, right? Like they go through Nyhavn, they like show how to make tebirkes and stuff like that. I'm like,
not the tebirkes. Tebirkes is dare I say, a goated food.
A totally goated food. And I'm sitting there like, and again, we've talked about this, but like whenever, because to me at least, Denmark's not the most known or like well represented country around the world, especially like in the medias. So whenever you see Denmark and especially Copenhagen like represented in shows, like taking like a major, like being a major plot point in a show as well, I'm like, God damn, I love it.
That's brilliant.
This is great.
Yeah.
So when that happened, I was just sitting there like getting like all, it was, for lack of a better word, it was very hygge. I was sitting there like, this is great,
That is the best word for that situation. Yeah, I get what you mean, because like I think immediately of In the Office when they're like, look, they made a Danish promo for our show, and it's like gibberish, and it's like, or like it's exactly. Danish read by like an American. It's like Skraldespand. And it's like, come on, you couldn't have gotten a Danish guy to do this.
Exactly.
So that's cool to hear. Now I really should get back into it, because I stopped watching because that first episode I was like, whew, that was a bit much.
No, that's because I watched the first episode as well. I was like, God, that was intense. But then I heard like some of my friends have been watching it, and they're like, that's great. And then I just sat down and watched like 3 or 4 episodes, like just binged it, and I really got hooked. It's actually so good. The story's great, the food's great, the acting's great. And yeah, like sometimes it is super intense, and you're sitting there like, oh my God, what the hell? But that does add to it, and at the same time, it's not like that all the time, right? So there are moments where you can kind of like let out a breath.
Yeah. Well, you know what, that might just push me over the edge to get back to it, because I have
I might just have to.
I have heard really good things, and it wasn't bad, the first episode. Mm-hmm. But damn, go the bear. I've got 2 little ones, and then Talk to Me and Blue Beetle. So do you wanna?
Okay.
I'll watch Jojo Rabbit.
Okay.
Very good movie. Yeah. It's a weird one, because as I was watching it, I was thinking like, I like this, don't really love it, and then by the time it ended, I was just kind of like, I don't know. I guess it just like hit a little something where I was like, I kind of did love that a little bit. Like it's not, I don't know.
Okay.
The weird thing is, I didn't find it that funny, because it's a you know what Jojo Rabbit is? It's the Taika Waititi.
Yeah. The Taika Waititi Hitler movie. Yeah. Which is not a very like delicate way of describing. It's quite a nice story, but like, because it is very comedic in the Taika Waititi way. But I don't know. A lot of the jokes were kind of like they were a little obvious maybe, or they weren't like laugh out loud funny like his other movies. My superior intellect spotted them immediately. It did nothing for me.
But weirdly, I think it worked much better for me as like just kind of like quite a sweet movie, and like it's quite a nice story, and there are a couple of emotional beats in there, especially one that I won't spoil that's like it's pretty hard. And I don't know, just as like sort of a sweet movie, it worked better for me than a comedy. The comedy didn't really do much for me, but I felt like it worked so well in the other way that I was like, that, and the comedy wasn't bad. It was just like, I don't know, I think it's his least funny of the films of his that I've seen. But quite good. Rockwell's in it. He gives quite a nutty performance. Yeah, good movie. And then
I have been meaning to give it a watch.
It's good. I would recommend. And this morning I did watch Before Midnight, the conclusion of the Before trilogy that I am very much enamored with.
The greatest movie of all time, you mean?
Well, my personal favorite, Before Sunset, at the moment at least. There's Before Sunrise, which is amazing. Before Sunset, which is my favorite movie, at least at the moment. And then finally, I finally saved it up, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to watch it. I watched Before Midnight. Very, very good. I'm going to say my least favorite of the 3.
Ooh, so you're saying disappointing?
No, not at all. But don't know. It did.
So you're telling me you hated it?
It did everything the other films, not everything, but did, it has very much a similar vibe to the other films. It's, mostly Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy walking around and talking, and, it's still got that, like, really, I don't know, human conversations, super well acted, super well written. I don't know, I think it's also, without spoiling, because I can't really say anything that happens in this one without spoiling, like, the other two, but it has a more down vibe to it than the others do, which is appropriate for the story for sure, and like works, and also has a lot of like revealing, wholesome insights in it. But I guess because I am just more of like a romantic person who likes the happier kind of thing. Maybe that's why I prefer the other ones. But again, that's kind of the whole point of the movie is an examination of that as a concept. And also I do think because it takes place now they're in their 40s, and it's sort of more about,
You know what happens in your 40s. Well, there's nothing to be happy about.
It's more about things that happen in your 40s, and, like, I guess, like, I can't really relate to that as much at this
Alimony.
So, I don't know. But overall...
Crippling mortgage debt. That's what's happening.
Still a very beautiful film, and a beautiful ending as well. So, yeah. Overall,
does this one also take place... like over like the length of the movie is like the plot length?
No, it's slightly more of a traditional movie in that sense, but it mostly consists of like two major scenes.
Okay,
but it's very, very, very well done. As the others, dare I say, the goated trilogy. I think this might be my favorite movie trilogy of all time.
I see. And this like, so Before Midnight, is that something that's come out pretty recently?
That was in 2013, I think, or 2012.
What? The thing is, like, it's like one of those situations where until you started talking to me about it, I'd never heard of any of these movies before, right? And now that you've told me about them, I hear everyone talking about it, and it's just so weird to me. So
let's go.
I thought it was like maybe they just watch BHL Hudson or something.
Well, yeah, I mean, no one I'm in a fucking film class. No one's heard of these movies. I'm like, guys, this is the kino you guys are looking for. Like, no one's seen.
Part of the, this is definitely not part of the job, as I was about to say, but one of the things I do on the job when we're talking to people that we're helping with our Wi-Fi wizarding, like just making small talk, we'll be like, oh, what's your favorite movie, right? It was like, we had like a poll a few days ago. It's like, so La La Land, yes or no? Just, asking randos about it, and it's just a fun time. So I'll be like talking to people like, so favorite movies, and then multiple people have been like, before sunset, before sunrise. Like, how the fuck am I hearing all these people talk about this movie? When I've never heard of it before, like a few weeks ago.
I start a trend. What can I say?
What can I say? Trend setter.
But they are beautiful movies. They are really. Really, I don't know. It hits something deep inside you. Look, I'll be perfectly honest, and this is not any statement about your character. I don't know if you would like them. Like, I think you would. It's
the greatest movie of all time, and everyone who loves it is a goated person. I don't know if you'd like it, though.
It hits something really deep in, like, your human soul. Not really for you, if I'm honest.
It's something where you appreciate life and see the development. I don't think you'd enjoy it at all.
You learn a lot about love. You'd hate it. I think you would like it. I think, you know what? I genuinely, my prediction is, I think you'll like it. I think you'll say, like, God, it's not the best. Like, I think you're kind of crazy for thinking it's the best movie ever. But I think you'll, like, be like, I get it. But it's not, like, anything mind-blowing.
Okay.
I don't know. That's
all I'm getting away from this is that you're like, oh, yeah, this guy would love In Bruges. This, in fairness, great movie, but this movie about, a guy doing a bunch of drugs with dwarves and then killing a child and stuff like that, and I wouldn't appreciate the beauty of life.
Well, what's to say? I think it's all on the presentation of that beauty. But maybe you're more of a Walter Mitty type,
Man, Walter Mitty, 6 out of 5 stars.
That's a sentence no one's ever said before. But yeah. Anyway, a good old thing that I did.
A good old thing that I did.
But I'm happy to hear it's getting love out there, the trilogy, as it should.
It certainly is. Too much love, I dare say. I will say, so 2 movies I watched. 10 Cloverfield Lane. You've talked about it.
Big banger. Spoilers for 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Very, very good. I enjoyed it a lot. It was scary. Thought the end, like the very ending shot where like she just escaped with, barely escaped with her life and stuff like that. And then she's like, oh, there's more people who need help. I'm gonna go help them. I'm like, okay. I mean, just fucking go to safety, bro. Do what any rational person would do here. But otherwise, I really, really liked it. And the other movie I watched, which I really enjoyed as well, Memento.
Oh, another banger.
Another banger. I'd never seen it before. It kind of flew under my radar. Like, I knew of it somewhat, but I had no clue what it was about, something like that. Watched it. So good. The way, like, you know, like the backwards storytelling and everything like that. Just very enjoyable. Super delightful, I am the Mandarin performance.
I'm glad that's what you remember
and,
from us.
Yeah, that's all I got from it. And a bit of a twist at the end as well.
Yes.
Overall, it's just a great movie. I really, really enjoyed it. I sat there, I was like constantly like, because it's a very like, you know, it's a very unconventional way of telling the story. So I was sitting, and sometimes, maybe because I don't appreciate before sunset or before sunrise, but sometimes when there's something that's like tries to be, you know, very different, I'm like, okay, I kind of clock out a little bit. Like, okay, this is trying too hard, but it fit weirdly well. Not weirdly, it just fit very well in the plot and the story and everything like that. So I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, no, two bangers. You know what? Maybe you would enjoy Before Sunset if you're out here giving them good reviews.
I see you reeling it in.
I see potential in your movie watching. No, yeah, agreed. Those are both great. Also, spoilers for 10 Cloverfield Lane, but I'll put that in before. But yeah, no, two bangers. One not so banger, and I guess I'll just I won't even go that in depth here. Again, probably just like a 5 minute. But Blue Beetle, the latest DC superhero film. Weirdly, and I guess I shouldn't be embarrassed to admit this, but I am kind of now. I was quite excited for this.
I was as well.
It looked
I was
pretty
weirdly
fun.
kind of, yeah. And like I've seen like, you know, we talked about it. I saw like the Blue Beetle kind of Injustice games and stuff like that. I was like, yeah,
seems
Blue
like
Beetle.
a fun character. Cool, you know, a fun cast. The trailers looked like
secretly the most excited you've been for a movie in years. This DC project no one's ever heard of.
But yeah, and it looked like, you know, it wasn't groundbreaking, but it looked like sort of a throwback to kind of maybe late 2000s, you know, superhero movies, sort of like basic, simple, but fun. And I guess it was that, but it was way more basic and way more simple and way less fun than I was expecting. And it was just, I mean, it was like, I was just surprised because it got like quite good reviews, I think. And it was so, I mean, look, okay, it wasn't...
Definition of mid, if you will?
Not even, it was so generic. I mean, it was like literally, I saw it with Cian and we walked out of it and like the first thing he said, and Cian, he's not like he's not like a very mean person or anything. He's not like, he wouldn't necessarily go to like a criticism right away. And he kind of just went like, well, that was like every fucking superhero movie I've ever seen. I'm like, yeah, I know. They do like, I mean, every trope, every superhero movie trope, every just like movie trope, it's sort of just like the most generic. Every joke I mean, like, look, it has like occasional funny moments, but like every joke you can kind of like count down to in your head. Like they do the classic, like, he's about to kiss the girl, and then his goofy uncle walks in. Whoa! It's like you could literally like you're waiting for it to happen, and it's like, and his fucking, you know, spoiler alert, I guess.
Blue Beetle turned blue baller. Sorry,
spoiler alert for Blue Beetle, but I assume you don't mind.
He doesn't get his nut on because of his uncle. The biggest else. Blue Beetle spoiler.
But his fucking dad might as well have like a "I'm about to die" sign on him. Like you can count down the like moment. You're like, and collapse right there. Good. But it's like, I don't know. The thing is, it's the main guy. He's you know, charming and fun. He's like a classic kind of superhero casting, and like everyone in it is fine and fun and, you know, sort of likable. Like all the characters are quite likable, and that's sort of what saves it from being like actually bad. Like I think it's like okay. And it has some fun action in it. I think like they use the Blue Beetle suit sort of in fun ways in the action scenes. There's some well done stuff, but I mean, it's like watching the trailer, you think like, oh, this looks kind of like a Spider-Man movie, but like it's just all the Spider-Man movie tropes. It's all like, it feels quite Iron Man in moments. It does like scenes you've seen in other films like Iron Man. I don't know, it devolves into, he fights a version of himself, a villain who's basically him, and man, it got like actually quite boring towards the last act because it was so predictable and so basic, and I was just like, man, it's fucking, 2023. I thought it was going to be like a throwback, but instead it was like...
It's 2023, man.
It was like, it's 2023.
Just let Blue Beetle get his nut on.
We've made a lot of superhero movies by now. You can't just do, like, basically a fucking, I guess maybe it's my fault for, like, thinking, oh, it'd be fun. It's going to be like a, late 2000s superhero movie again. That'll be fun. And it was, but it's like, oh, man, we've done all these tropes for the past fucking 2 decades. Like...
Yeah,
I don't know. It became.
So,
I don't know.
Are you saying like if this came out in like 2008, would this actually be a much better movie?
Definitely, yeah. No, if this came out in 2008, I think this would be like people would be like, "Whoa, this new DC movie! It's it's fun. It's got this excitement. It's like a really kind of mid-tier MCU movie now, but like even more. I don't want to say like." I don't want to say babyish because that's really fucking mean, but like I felt like I was like, do you think I'm this fucking stupid? It felt like a
Goo Goo Gaga movie.
That's so insulting to like most people probably really enjoyed it, but it felt at certain points I felt like a fucking...
I looked around for my pacifier.
Like it's like, oh, I wonder what's gonna happen next. Oh my god, that happened. Whoa. And it's like, yeah, no shit. It's like, I don't know, man. So look, it definitely has some fun in it, especially towards the start. It actually has quite a few funny moments at the start, and it's like it's got likable characters, but besides that, I would say a very missable movie, if I'm honest.
I've got a question for you though, right?
Shoot.
Take this movie, right? But then we're gonna alter one small thing. The uncle does not come in, and there's an extended 8-minute scene of Blue Beetle just going to Pound Town.
Well,
does that change anything?
Now that you put it like that, that would subvert my expectations heavily. So I'm gonna go
groundbreaking stuff from DC.
DC has taken a new step forward.
This movie's on another fucking level.
Kevin Feige.
Before sunset, get out of here.
I thought you were saying there was before Blue Beetle and after Blue Beetle.
It's the turning point for modern cinema.
Just Blue Beetle's vigorous sex scene that lasts 8 hours.
It's not the movie Blue Beetle, it's the Blue Beetle movie sex scene. That's the pinnacle of cinema.
You raised an interesting idea there. Maybe they should take note of that. But unfortunately, that did not happen. So here we are.
Release the B.H.L. Hudson cut. If you ever
I come out of retirement for this one moment.
Guys, this is good, but I could make it a lot better.
But yeah, that's where I'm at with Blue Beetle. So sorry everyone who enjoyed it.
Okay.
Not really for me.
Well, I'm going to hit you with something that I thought I was not going to enjoy. And in parts, I was right. But at the same time, I came away hating that I actually really enjoyed parts of it.
Okay.
I am, of course, talking about The Meg 2, The Trench.
God damn it. Okay, alright. No, that's... You've had like a real Statham thing going lately.
Two Statham movies? Yo, you good.
Yo, you got like a fetish or something?
So, let's talk about it. It was one of the dumbest movies I've ever seen in my life. Right? Do you mind if I spoil The Meg 2, The Trench for you?
You can do it.
And I've not seen The Meg 1, so I kind of watched like a 5-minute recap, and I was like, I didn't need to watch that because nothing really matters.
Okay.
But essentially, it's there's this like the thermocline. The thermocline is this layer in the ocean, and below it, they found out that all the Megs live, right? Of course.
Obviously.
And so if the thermocline is this layer of like hydrogen or something that keeps them from going up to our, normal waters. And so if there's a breach in the thermocline, chaos happens. Of course. Now, what do you think happens in this movie?
I'm gonna say the thermocline is fine. I think Statham just gives it a good old pat and walks away.
You'd be correct. That was the movie. No. So they go down, then they find out that, oh my god, like there's like the kind of head of the organization who's funding all this stuff and like the kind of like manager of it is actually evil. And so she sent down another expedition to like mine for precious minerals or something like that down there. And they go down, they discover it, and then they set off a bomb that then to like try and kill Statham. But that bomb was going to be, so basically they're down there mining with like explosives basically, right? Setting off the explosives to kind of like use that to mine. Then they try to use those explosives to kill Statham, which then creates a hole in the thermocline. And they're like, oh shit, we messed up. But my only thing is that they were going to use those explosives anyways. So I don't know how they were not expecting the thermocline to be ravaged.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a weird thing. Also, again, I don't fully know if this is right, but they're down in like 6,000 meters below, right? Crushing depths, right? And so they get to this kind of like base, and Statham's like, oh shit, I need to like manually go out and, because they're losing oxygen basically. I need to go out and fix it, but I have to do it from the outside. And they're like, oh no, Statham, you're gonna get crushed by the pressure, right? He's like, no, I just need to empty my sinuses. It's like, okay.
God, that's
again, I don't know if that's right, but to me it didn't seem at least like the full scientific explanation, right? And then there's just this like 30-second scene of Statham in water, just like super angrily puffing out blood out of his nose, like and his sinuses, like emptying his sinuses. It was like, what's
that
going
sounds
on
fucking
here?
awesome. Actually, it sounds like a great.
This is actually super erotic. I'll have it. And so then he manages to do it, but then he passes out, and then surprise, surprise, he wakes up with the villain dragging him like by the arm, taking him somewhere. Right?
Whoa.
But one thing that I really had a bit of a qualm with in this movie is that, so the villain is like dragging an unconscious Statham, right? The moment Statham wakes up, he immediately tries to kill Statham. Like, you could have just killed him in the beginning.
Yeah.
So there's many kind of like plot holes like that. Then, surprise, surprise, some Megs escape. There's also a giant like Kraken that escapes. And, you know, kind of generic Meg stuff happens. It's very, very average. It's okay. My favorite character by far is, do you know the daughter in the first Meg movie?
I've never seen the first Meg.
Okay, well, there's a daughter and her uncle, because her mom dies at the end of the first Meg, apparently. And that uncle is kind of like part of the spearheading of the operation, and he's one of the good guys. And I thought for sure that in the beginning of the movie, because he gives off the vibe of the guy in Jurassic World, like the new owner of the park who like flies the helicopter. He gives off that vibe where it's like, oh yeah, you're definitely gonna die. He's got a target painted on his back, as you said, right? Like the dad in Blue Beetle. And for the first half of that movie, he's like, oh, this guy's gonna die heroically but stupidly or something like that. And then it almost happens a few times, and then suddenly it starts getting so ridiculous, and he gets so incredibly nutty that I'm like, okay, there's literally no way this guy can die. And I was right, because he just goes absolute ballistic in some scenes where he like jumps out of a helicopter and like tackles 7 dinosaurs and then just like falls like 30 meters and it's just fine. So it was like, it goes from being like very like tense and on edge with him to him just being like this immortal god. But he had some very delightful kind of back and forth. There are some funny moments in it, but there's also some very like generic stuff. But overall, I hate to say, I did enjoy many moments of it.
It does sound quite delightful. It does sound, dare I say, like a Woody movie.
I was going to say, I think if I watched this with my boy as a Woody movie, I think we would have had a grand time.
Damn. Well, I'm happy to hear it lived up to the sort of, you know, the Statham Rampage movie style expectations of it. And I was going to say something about Statham. Something about his emptying his sinuses, but yeah, I'm glad it lived up to that. I was gonna go see it with my mom because she's, I think I might have told you, inexplicably a really big fan of the first Meg movie for some reason.
That's such a freaky thing to be.
But I think it's weirdly really wholesome because like she's not really into like sort of, you know, bad movies like that, like Rampage or Skyscraper. But then she's just like, oh, the Meg. It was so stupid. I loved it.
The Meg. Mwah, chef's kiss.
Yeah, so, but maybe that's then worth us going to see, because that sounds sort of exactly like the vibe.
Well, I'd recommend that you go see if she's a huge Meg fan.
Yeah, I guess one should. Well, good for Meg to Statham emptying dem nostrils. Well, last one here on the list, a film we've both seen, and a film a little bit out of character for at least one of us to have seen, but a horror movie.
No, I think I dare say both of us.
Yeah, well, you see like Evil Dead Rise and Smile and stuff. You
that's true, but that's only because I'm practically forced to.
That is fair. Well, I was practically forced to go to this as well. But we both saw Talk to Me, the new, I think A24, maybe not, horror film, directed by Rucka Rucka.
Rucka Ali?
Nope. Wrong. Rucka, definitely not him.
Yeah.
What a redemption arc that would be.
That would be a crazy comeback. Yeah, this terrible dude comes back and makes one of the best horror movies.
Acclaimed cinema. But yeah, Rucka, they're a YouTube duo, twins, I think, from Australia, or New Zealand.
Actually, I've seen a few of their videos. Actually kind of delightful.
Well, I knew them mostly because I think I saw a couple of their videos, but I knew them mostly. They helped out the Sidemen with their more cinematic videos, because they did like cinematic type stuff.
Sidemen.
The roast of the Sidemen. And they did stuff like where KSI is flying and beating up everyone and running up a building and shit.
Exactly.
And, they seem to have like sort of, especially for the YouTube level, quite, like a stunt effects niche. Again, that's all I just kind of gathered from their Sidemen connections. I never actually watched any of their content, but seemed like also delightful dudes. I've seen a couple interviews. They seem like cool guys. So that was part of why I was excited for it, because I was like, hey, YouTubers turned filmmakers? That's sort of, something I should be interested in.
I enjoy. That's going to be me one day.
And very good. Quite good. I think you liked it probably more than I did, but I liked it a lot.
I thought it was actually maybe rivaled only and surpassed only by Get Out. I think it might have been the best horror movie I've ever seen.
Wow, that is a statement. Okay.
I think it was so good. I think Get Out is better.
Okay.
Get Out is better.
We should say, before anyone kind of like flips out in the comments, we're not, I don't know, I think I speak for you as well. We haven't seen, your Nightmare on Elm Streets, your, Friday the 13th, sort of like Exorcist, all these classic horror movies before someone gets
classic, like old-timey horror movies I've not seen, but I dare say I'd probably enjoy this more than them.
That's fair.
Just putting it
fair
out
enough.
there.
Yeah, that's you. I ain't trying to crush your style here.
Sounds like you're crushing my style. Sounds like you're trying to harsh my mellow right now. I don't know. I just thought it was so, because it did things that many other horror movies do, but that when I watch them, I find less effect. Like I don't find it super effective in the horror or scare of it. But this one, I don't know. It's very rare that a horror movie sticks with me after like watch it. Like I walk out, and I'm like, that actually was kind of freaky,
Kind of like spooky,
It was kind of spooky, I thought it actually, and like I watched it with my girlfriend, and she's an avid horror movie watcher, and she's like, it is not scary, Hereditary, Mid, and stuff like that.
It's a bang on impression, by the way.
Yes.
Also a passable Pacino.
Got the cadence of her voice down perfectly. But she also watched it. She's like, that was kind of, that kind of messed with my head a little bit.
Well, I saw it with Cian, who's also a big horror fan, and he had the same reaction where he was sort of, I'm not saying he was more scared of it than me, but he was he didn't know what to say afterwards. He was like, damn. It was so good. It was well acted. It was grounded. It didn't try too much. Should we say spoilers?
We can say spoilers, yeah.
All right, spoilers, yeah. Just so we can free flow.
It was also so fucked up in parts with the kid bashing his head.
Yeah, that was wild. That was pretty intense. Again, I like how I'm using Cian as like a barometer for everything movie related. But again, a big horror fan who I assume has seen some things in his day as a horror fan, and
he's been exposed to some shit.
And he was like, really like taken aback. He was recoiling in his seat and everything, because that was brutal. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it was like it's a great addition to this sort of modern day horror renaissance that's going on with, a lot of the A24 stuff and like Hereditary and Midsommar and whatnot. But it's just like a great premise. That's the great thing about like horror movies. You can get these really interesting, you can do so much with a really interesting premise. And yeah, it was very effective. And in its spooks. Sorry, I started that sentence. I had no idea where it was going. I'm sorry.
It was really effective in its spooks.
I thought I would find something smart to say along the way, but I was just like, no, yeah, I guess it was pretty scary. I guess.
The spooks made me poo myself, I guess. Going back to Blue Beetle, being like, goo goo gaga. This one had big spooks.
But the thing is also that I liked, because again, I'm a big wimp when it comes to horror movies. It was scary. It was my level of scary, where it was scary, but it wasn't like, I don't know, so fucked that I didn't. I don't know.
I found it so fucked.
Really? I mean, it was fucked, but it wasn't like. I guess there weren't like a ton of jump scares. I don't know. Like it was definitely scary, but it wasn't like, again, I fucking hate that like, jump scare, the nun bullshit. And I thought it was just, I guess because it was a little bit more clever than that. I guess because also I cared about the characters. It made it more like interestingly scary than just like jump in your seat kind of scary,
No, I agree, yeah. Because I mean, the jump scares, almost every single jump scare gets me, right? I'll be like, but that'll just be in the moment, right? Whereas this one, a lot of the time I was sitting with like my hands over my eyes a little bit, kind of like looking through my fingers, because there was this like weird, like super intense atmosphere, just like this tension throughout most of the movie, right? Where I felt like anything could happen at any moment, right? And I thought it was done really, really well. Where I think I was like, the nun is like, when you're safe and you don't need to worry about jump scares.
That's
like,
true.
When they're talking like right after a jump scare in the nun, you're like, okay, breathe out. Whereas this one, the entire time, pretty much for me, was just like I was on edge and it was unnerving and stuff like that.
That's fair. Again, I should clarify. I do watch all horror movies like that, so I mean, my opinion on how scary it was doesn't really count, because I was like not watching.
I saw
it half the time.
Maybe 15% of the movie.
I'm not even kidding, like probably, but yeah, it wasn't even that fucked, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. I missed every.
Bro,
scare.
The movie. Yeah. You slept through it?
Yeah, I wasn't there.
Bro, that shit was fine.
I thought, weirdly, the scariest moment to me, I don't know why, but I think there's always been something like this in this kind of moment in movies always kind of gets me, when the kid is in the hospital and she like asks to see where he is, and whether it's a trick by the demons or whatever, but she sees him being like tortured by the demons. Oh Jesus, sorry, I almost dropped something. She sees the kid being tortured by like all those fucking hands all over him and shit.
That kind of like vision and stuff?
Yeah, that shit freaks me out, because I think anything like that, they do that in some movies sometimes, where it's like a character, I think maybe they're doing Coraline, or I don't know, but a character, especially like a kid character, is being like held in a like evil dimension or something, and like bad shit is happening to them, and just imagining like especially a kid being like in that scenario, just like, I don't know, that really freaks me out for some reason.
Okay,
it's kind of a really specific moment, but for some reason that's the one that like kind of got to me most.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the thing I kind of liked as well is that it was, because some horror movies like the Conjuring universe and stuff like that, I feel like it's very much like they're very open about the fact that, I need to call an exorcist. It's very kind of like on the nose with it. Whereas this one, because of the kind of grounded way the movie was done, and like I thought it appealed quite well to like people our age in the way, like the portrayals, and how like the horror part, or like how it goes around with like the social media stuff, like oh, is it real? No way. And then people doing it and stuff like almost as if it's a high. Not that I do any drugs, but. It was, it felt a bit more relatable, and in that way it came across as a more subtle way of doing it, which I really like, because I think one of the things that is a bit of a turnoff for me in a lot of like The Conjuring and stuff like that, is that it's so on the nose about, something bad's happening, I'm just going to call an exorcist, and then a bunch of scary shit's going to happen to them, and then they'll solve it, and that's it, right?
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I think it not only... It made the characters more relatable, it made it easier to get into the story, It's that fine line where movies that involve kind of like social media and like teenagers and like sort of, I don't know, phones and that kind of stuff, it can always get really cringy, because you can tell like it's someone who has no fucking clue what that's like. And I think that probably actually helps having, YouTuber directors, because they can kind of understand that more. And it made it really feel like something, you or I could see on our fucking, I don't know, Snapchat or whatever. Like it felt like, and you can see why they wouldn't call anyone about it. Like it felt... Because, it felt like kind of a real thing, so, like, people wouldn't really get it, and they also don't really know what it is and whatnot. I think
in that situation, I would almost in any horror movie situation, I would always tell someone about what's happening.
Yeah, definitely. But I by horror movie standards, I feel like it was a less egregious version.
It's a lot more realistic in the way they handle things.
I also liked like the characters, or even like when I didn't really like them that much, but I like.
So, I fully thought you were gonna be like, I also love the Sidemen shout out in the movie.
Yeah, just super serious. I also thought it was a really good inclusion having Rhodeshaw there. I mean, we can talk about that. They do have a KSI Sidemen Rhodeshaw moment.
They do,
which is
little Easter egg,
pretty epic. But yeah, I like the characters. I was invested in the characters and what happened to them. It was a really cool premise. Also, this might be a weird thing to say, but the fact that it was set in Australia, I don't know, weirdly gave it like kind of a slightly unique feeling. I feel like I haven't seen many horror movies set in Australia.
Not many Australian
or movies in general.
Movies in general.
They run over a kangaroo or whatever, and that was kind of it's not funny, but it was sort of a funny twist on like they hit an animal in a horror movie thing.
Yeah, it's a kangaroo.
I love the opening. I thought the opening was really fucking intense with the brother, and he stabs himself and whatnot. And I fucking loved the ending. The ending really sealed it for me.
The ending was so good.
Just like a really clever way to tie it all back together. I will say, like, the main thing that I didn't really like about it is I did find it logically a little inconsistent and confusing at times, which doesn't break a movie like this, but when there were moments where I was sort of wondering, like, because there's an element of you're supposed to wonder, like, what are the demons trying to get them to see and get them to do, and what are they just doing because they want to? And at a certain point, it's sort of, I got a little bit lost in that. I was like, wait, but why would the demon want to do that? Or is that the demon? And less so like in the movie sense where it was like, oh my god, what's real, what's not? And more so like, I'm actually confused what's happening right now, and it's sort of making it less scary or engaging. There were a couple moments like that throughout, and that kind of brought it back a little bit for me. But that's really my only main complaint.
I can see what you mean. I just think that for me in general with horror movies, I think I've just kind of given up on trying to actually figure out what the goal of the demons are, unless it's like specifically stated, right? Like, because so much random stuff happens where they're like suddenly they could kill you, but they're gonna go away or something like that, right? Where I think it's like more just immersing yourself in the scare factor that's happening rather than be like, oh, is this like, are they faking it? Do they want this to happen? Is this like a trick? Stuff like that. I think I didn't do that as much in this movie. Like, I didn't really think about like, oh, is this a trick? Is this, I was just like, oh, this is definitely the demon doing something, no matter like the kind of intention behind it. And so I don't think that took away too much from me.
Fair enough. No, that's totally fair. I will say also I was going to say the like sort of drug metaphor I thought was, kind of clever, and then at times maybe a little sort of on the nose. But I don't know, it was still like an interesting angle to take. But yeah, a couple times I felt a little like sort of down your throat, like it's a metaphor for drugs, like look, they made the little kid do it, now it's bad.
Get it? You're getting high.
Yeah. But I don't know, still I still thought like premise wise that was quite an interesting, way to take a horror movie. Go ahead.
But so you say, dare I say, you scoffed.
I don't think I used...
when I said this is one of my favorites of all time.
Yeah.
Which other one? Because you've given it high praise here. Which other ones would you say are better, apart from Get Out?
Now I'm trying to think of what horror movies I've seen. I mean, I know this will be a scoff from you, but I mean, Midsummer is a big shout from me.
It's in the name, sir. Midsummer.
I don't know if The Lighthouse counts as a horror movie, but I'd probably go that up there. I mean, maybe Secret Life of Walter Mitty or something. I mean, that might be the scariest shit I've ever seen. He got attacked by that shark. I don't know. Again, I've seen very few horror movies, so I'm not at all qualified to give like a horror movie opinion. But I don't know. I guess it just kind of caught me off guard. But I scoff at you. Not. That was the worst way I could have phrased that. Like a Shakespearean actor. Like I just recently said Before Sunset is my favorite movie of all time. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Which dare I say, you gave me some scoffs in return. You gave me some sort of passive-aggressive, now you say this is the best movie ever, and I've let it slide, so let's just
get reminded
of that.
You're calling me out on my hypocrisy.
But at the same time, I'll call myself on the hypocrisy, because I say that fully unironically, and so you are entitled to say this fully unironically. So, we move.
Thank you.
But overall, I would say, good job, Rucka Rucka, not Ali. I enjoyed the movie very much. I thought it was spooky, scary, interesting, and good.
Thought it was good, scary, interesting, and good.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
I agree. One of the best horror movies of all time.
No, I would say your favorite of all time. Stick to your guns, sir.
No, Get Out is my favorite, but this one right after.
All right. Well, with all that said, it is now time for
the Dumb Cnews.
This isn't anything too relevant, but it's just kind of a funny headline if I stop right after the quotation mark. This is from fandomwire.com. Quote, all the oxygen had just been sucked out.
100% his penis.
Yeah, so you can just
or it's a Statham sinus kind of situation.
He blows all the air out via that hole. But no, the whole headline is, all the oxygen had just been sucked out. Jack Nicholson delivered his iconic scene in one take with Tom Cruise that even left Bruce Willis speechless. What a random inclusion. I didn't expect that. That's like, I'm like reading this, I'm thinking like, A Few Good Men, whatever, and then it's like, Bruce Willis was freaked out, and I'm like, he was not in that movie. But
did you see that Quentin Tarantino wants to bring back Bruce Willis for a movie?
I did not. That seems kind of in poor taste.
Well, that's what I said.
Didn't he retire for health reasons?
Well, yeah, that's what he says. So he's like, I really want to give homage to him by bringing him in for a small role in one of my movies. Like, Quentin, I think you're missing the point here.
I mean, I guess it's a sweet sentiment, but also I don't know about that one, Quentin. Like, it's
but that's fucking fucked.
If someone's like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of an appropriate metaphor here, but like,
I don't know. It could be like that really stupid thing they did for Top Gun Maverick.
No, don't say that. Don't remind people I accidentally said that one time. That's my bad. Okay, I'm still apologizing for it.
Didn't love the Iceman.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I'm sorry.
The real reason B.H.L. Hudson quit.
Yeah.
He was forced out.
Retiring from the game with my tail between my legs. Anyway, I'll be honest. I'm not going to read this article, but you can go read it if you want. I guess Bruce Willis was probably impressed by A Few Good Men, and as was Tom Cruise. Who knows? You can read the article. Now we are going to go to the... Why would you bring that up? I mean, to be fair, again, if it's like safe and good and fine, then I guess it's like a sweet thing from Quentin. It's like a nice idea, but also, I don't know, it's like...
Yeah.
It seems...
I doubt he'd do it if it's not safe.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He throws retired Bruce Willis into the jungle. He wants a Tropic Thunder-esque scenario.
Yeah. But, I don't know, it does feel... Yeah, sort of like a weird shout. Just again, I haven't seen anything. I've just heard you say it just now, but it feels like a bit of a missing the point.
It's just a lie I made.
Yeah. But anyway, Jesus, we're now gonna go to the announcements and such. Let's do the comments.
Ooh.
Let's do the comments. Josie says, "I think John Krasinski would be a great Captain America," and the Poorly Planned Pod Clip says he would be great as Cap, and Josie says, "Agreed." Yeah.
Just a consensus there, I guess.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not nuts about it, but I think he could be pretty good, actually. Never mind. I've convinced myself in this one sentence. Al Feld says, "This reminds me of the failed topic you originally had for Pod 18, where you're supposed to recast the DCEU with MCU actors, but instead spent 20 minutes laughing at pictures of Cheats, Renner, and Michael Rooker." I have no memory of this, but that's so funny that, like,
God,
someone else remembers we did that. Oh, man.
I love the fact that, because, I mean, in fairness, I think a lot of people, they'll be going back and listening to some of these. For us, this is like 6 years ago, right? And they're like,
literally
doing callbacks to it. I'm like, damn.
No memory of this, but that does sound like something we would do, and that's kind of awesome. So, well, thank you for reminding me of that, Al. And the Poorly Planned Podcast Clip says, "Look at the big brain on Brad," which I assume is in reference to Al's memory there, so... Go Al. Josie says, "You should do this for the DCEU as well. Extremely fitting because of the reboot." I didn't even think of that, but yeah, that is actually way more appropriate that we would have done that. Good shout. ZJ says,
huge missed opportunity.
enjoyable way to spend my afternoon. Agree with BHL at the beginning about Forrest Gump. More like Forrest Mid. Sorry, I was the one who confused before sunset, before sunrise. Some could say this podcast, what a done. And this comment section, what a fucking disaster. Hashtag bussy done. Hashtag before midnight. Hashtag poorly planned pod is knuff. Hashtag FDK the bone collector. Hashtag BHL Boomer Slayer. So we've picked up right where we left off last time.
BHL Boomer Slayer.
Josie says, the announcements and such are always my favorite part of the pod because I love the absolute insanity the comments have become. Before the comments were all nice, and now we've just constantly made Bussy and Peacemaker jokes, and it gets me in a laughing fit every single time. Hashtag Freddy's Bussy Hour. Hashtag Sweaty Freddy and the BHL Boomer. Hashtag I am done. I don't even want to think about what Freddy's Bussy Hour would entail.
I think we all know.
Shelf Enthusiast says, I almost feel bad for how unhinged the comment sections have been the past few months, but then again, they do lead to some of the funniest moments in the pod. Also, great topic. I would love to see this done with other franchises. Wonderful, fun episode. I listen to most of these episodes at work, and during the Bone Collector rant, I genuinely was struggling so hard not to burst into laughter. Also, I recently watched the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, and it's a bit of a shout, you know. It's by the same director as The Mitchells vs. the Machines, and has a very similar vibe. Definitely worth checking out. Hashtag Bussy never dies. Hashtag we're sorry. Well, apology appreciated, but
but not accepted, it seems.
I did not know it was by the Mitchells vs. the Machines directors. I thought it looked quite fun, the Ninja Turtles movie. It looked like a bit of a shout, you know.
Yeah, it doesn't look bad.
I could be definitely convinced to see that, but yeah.
Apology appreciated.
No, thank you, and I'm glad you enjoyed the episode. Daniel says, another really great and enjoyable episode. Keep up the Ben Stiller-esque work. Thank you, Daniel.
No!
What a compliment.
That's the most genuine thank you, Daniel, you've ever said.
Yeah, right. This was such a great episode. Reminded me a lot of the old episode of the podcast back in 2017, 2018, so big W. But the fact that BHL doesn't love Forrest Gump is a big L, but the fact that Freddy does is a big FDKW. Damn, that's how it goes.
True.
Here are some of my recasts for the MCU. Iron Man, Colin Farrell. You know what? Not the worst shout I've heard.
Not a bad shout, actually.
Although I'm starting to think these might... no, these are generally, I think, unironic. I don't know. Captain America, John Krasinski. Loki, Max Greenfield.
I can kind of see it, you know.
Nick Fury, Dwayne Johnson.
Okay.
Doctor Strange, Johnny Depp. All right.
Oh, yeah. I can see that.
Shang-Chi, a young Jackie Chan. I can kind of see it, I guess.
Yeah.
Just to name a few, but I do think Meds. I do think Mads Mikkelsen would be a great Loki.
I do think Meds.
Hashtag Jesus Christ, no. Hashtag BHL waits Harrison to die. Hashtag I'm so sorry, that is not an accurate hashtag. Hashtag stop FDK abuse. Hashtag play the anime intro. Hashtag no one can replace Cheetle. Hashtag BHL. Hashtag FDKW. Hashtag Bussy. Hashtag Jesus Christ. No. I refuse to read out this one.
No, please. Let me hear it.
Hashtag BHL loves to eat that Harrison Bussy. Hashtag FDK's king. BHL is ageist. Well, this is I almost rescind my thank you, Daniel, but you did say Ben Stiller-esque, so I'll allow it. Oh boy.
Wants to eat the Harrison Bussy.
Anson says
the Harrison Bussy sounds like a fancy hotel chain.
God, I would not eat there.
I would sleep there though.
Anson says totally fair on calling my Barbie take an L, but I don't know, man. I can't remember the last time I laughed that hard at a movie. So many scenes that absolutely killed me. Don't let us bring you down. Say we're an L. Give it back. Don't let us.
Yeah, don't be making us feel bad, because whenever someone agrees with us, that's the worst.
Yeah, so say fuck you guys. You're in an L take.
Yeah, exactly.
I stopped caring about the patriarchy when I realized it wasn't about horses. Gold, in my opinion. That was a very good line, to be fair. Also, sorry for the bizarre amount of typos on my Spirited Away comment. It was excruciating to hear read back. All good. I don't actually remember that, but being full of typos. But yeah, all good. And again, don't let us bring you down. This is a supportive community of movie takes. Okay?
Exactly.
We all are L takes here.
Except for me.
Right? Jack says, John Stamos is Iron Man, Hulk Hogan is Thor, Vince Vaughn is Ant-Man, Denzel Washington is Nick Fury. I mean, it's not the worst thing I've ever heard. Hulk Hogan is Thor. I assume you mean modern-day Hulk Hogan. Anyway, but yeah. Vince Vaughn is Ant-Man. You know, younger Vince Vaughn.
Modern-day Hulk Hogan is Thor.
Vince Vaughn is Ant-Man, though, you know, especially back in like 2008 or something. Not a bad shout.
Yeah.
Cal W says, the person who started the Bussy movement doesn't even know what their words have done to us. Hashtag now I am become Bussy, the destroyer of worlds. And Josie says, hashtag the Bussy that started it all. Hashtag the Bussy is real. And then Shelf Enthusiast says, hashtag the Bus don't stop. Yeah, whoever wrote that sign on my college campus that just said, I heart Bussy, they didn't know they were...
God,
ironically,
you should find them and then just show them a few episodes.
Yeah, they were reaching a far greater...
They've reached all around the world now.
The Poorly Planned Podcast clip says, hashtag BHL is ageist. So that's something. Josie says, hashtag BHL Hudson. That's pretty good.
Ooh,
Poorly Planned Podcast...
very angry.
clip says, hashtag BHL's Harrison's mortal enemy. Josie says, hashtag BHL betrays Indy. Poorly Planned Podcast clip says, hashtag BHL waits for Indy to... Sorry, BHL waits Indy dead. Josie says, hashtag BHL hated Ghostbusters because of old Bill Murray. Pocket clip says, hashtag Bill Murray is BHL's daddy. Josie says, hashtag BHL stands for Bill Murray, Harrison Ford, and Ludacris. And finally, Daniel says, BHL waits that Bill Murray bussy. So this is...
Damn.
Yeah. I don't know how Bill got dragged into this.
Bill Murray, Harrison Ford, and Ludacris.
Yeah.
Such a random sprinkle of delight in that sentence.
I did also recently watch Groundhog Day, and Bill Murray was quite delightful in it, but I would not go so far to say...
I did enjoy Ludacris in it.
I would not say hashtag Bill Murray is BHL's daddy. Also, I fucking love Harrison Ford. He's like one of my favorite actors. I hate that now I pick up hashtag BHL is Harrison's mortal enemy.
He used to be.
No. Also, oh my god, okay, we'll do it next time. But we have to tell the Croatia story about the old lady.
We do.
Because that's kind of, I mean, I hate how it paints me, but in light of these comments, it would be really funny. So next time. Yeah. Stay tuned until next time.
Okay, well, yeah, we need to get some comments going about his ageism then, guys. So
No, we do not. We absolutely do not. Connor Beer says, I know no one cares, but this was recorded on my birthday, so that's pretty cool, I guess. No. Hashtag he knows my pussy. Horrible. Super horrible. And Josie says, Josie just says, happy bus day. That aside, happy birthday. And GC Green says, funnily enough, Cruise's performance as Jerry Maguire weirdly mimics the progression of Tony Stark in Iron Man, a money-hungry businessman who works to be more human and eventually falls for his assistant. Could have worked, although it's for the best because Cruise likely would have insisted on practical flying scenes and ultimately jump off a building in a hulking metal suit. Can definitely see that happening. And
100% see that happening.
Yeah, I very much want to watch Jerry Maguire. That is high on my list. So, yeah. But great stuff. Thank you for all the comments. We're gonna check the fan page right quicko.
I believe there's been some activity if I'm not mistaken.
No, surely not.
I believe so.
There has. So I don't know if we did this one last time, but it really fucking got me. It's Simon Pegg when the waiter asks if he's finished, but instead of finished, he says a word that means the same thing. It's a picture of Simon says, he knows my name. So that's very, very
so
good. BHL when he sees a hashtag in the comments, and it's a picture from Lord of the Rings where he goes, so it begins. About to charge into battle. Very accurate.
So good.
When BHL Hudson goes to the gym, BHL Swolson. It's a picture of my face photoshopped on top of a bodybuilder.
Okay, they need to pick you up after all the ageism.
yeah, we need to get a new trend going that's like less putting me down. Then after my retirement thing, he posted, I think from the last John Wick movie, never thought I'd see the day. Yeah. That was a yeah. And then this, I have not seen this yet, but I'm gonna watch this. I do see Simon Pegg's face saying it knows my name, but let's see.
Okay.
It's just the clip of him saying it knows who I am, but it's in beautiful 4K, and it's just his absolute
What? Okay.
horrific face. I assume they released the clip or something, but man, he's horrified.
Let's see here.
It knows who I
It knows who I am. It knows my name.
But thank you, Cian, all hilarious memes, and thank you for all the comments, everyone. Just good stuff all around. So, that was the episode this week. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop a like, subscribe, hit the bell button, leave a comment down below what you thought of the movies we talked about and the episode. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leave a 5-star rating, a nice review. Tell your friends about the pod. Maybe they'll like it. You can find me on Instagram, BHL_Hudson,
Ooh.
and Letterboxd, real BHL Hudson. You can still find the YouTube channel. There's a back catalog, all right? BHL Hudson.
Guys, you can still watch the fucking long video. I need some cash.
And you can email the pod at bhlhudsonvids@gmail.com.
Damn. Can I just say, in like the span of a month, you've cut off
I've really slimmed down that outro.
two of your ats.
Yeah, 3. Also the TikTok.
You can find me on Twitter, aka X, at FDK_AdultSniper. You can find me on Instagram at Fidalgard. You can also find me on YouTube at FDK_. No, I've messed that up. You can also find me on Letterboxd at FDK_Thwilms and on YouTube at FDK Space Gaming.
Thank you very much for listening, and we will
Frantic dabbing.
we'll see you next time.
Blue Beetle 16.